Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the I Do Wedding Marketing Podcast. My name is Nina Adio, and I am happy to be back with you again, both on the podcast and on YouTube, because I am uploading these to YouTube. I didn't install it yet. I got a new webcam for Christmas, so hopefully that will, I'll be able to get a bit more of my body in here since you can never really see it with my setup I have. But I'm sitting here recording it anyway, and sometimes you just have to surrender and say, like, it doesn't matter how I look. What matters is what I have to say. So if you're here watching on YouTube, thanks so much. And if you're watching on the podcast or listening, I should say, I always appreciate you guys as well. I would love it if you would screenshot, post it to your stories, tag me, and let me share it out into the world. But it is nice because I'm filming this on December 27th. So we just finished the holiday season, and now we are really at the start, or at the peak rather, of engagement season. It starts Thanksgiving, kind of peaks at Christmas and New Year's, and then goes through Valentine's Day. So it's a very exciting time to be a wedding professional. But on our last episode, episode 73, I shared with you the three things to focus on as you prepare your wedding business for 2023. But if you're looking to maybe outsource more and take on less for your new year, then let's talk about what you need before you hire a social media manager. So these are the things you will need in your business in order to hire out your business to a social media manager like myself successfully. You could do it without these things, but I don't know if it would be as effective. So the first thing is going to come as no surprise to anybody, and that is budget. We spoke a bit about how you can review and assess your budget in our last episode, but effective social media management may not be as easy as just giving it on to somebody else on your payroll's workload, just having someone who's already working for you do it or post as they can. If your intention is to hire an expert for your social media marketing, then a budget is going to go along with that. Your social media marketing budget should be taken as seriously as your advertising budget, your web design budget, all of these important things. Modern digital habits of users indicate that couples aren't just going to the knot or just going to your website or just going to Instagram. They're really going to all three, and all three of these work together. My job, or what I consider my job personally as a social media marketer, is to get couples and event hosts and clients to go to you from your social media profile to your website where they can enter your sales funnel. So I want whatever I am posting about to be so enticing that I'm leading them from Instagram to you. And that, let me tell you, that's a hard thing to do, to get someone to stop the scroll. And also, we're trying to get somebody who's ready to spend a high price point, right? Because weddings aren't cheap. And we're looking for somebody who's engaged. So we're trying to capture people in a very specific profile. And an expert is going to be more effective with that than if you compromise to just tacking it on to somebody else's workload on staff or to an agency that maybe doesn't specialize in the industry or has had any wedding clients before. So in order to establish your budget, I advise to take into account your volume of bookings, right? Are you looking for 52 weddings a year, double that, triple that, and the average price point of those bookings? Use that information to determine a monthly or annual cost you're comfortable with. So, for example, you may hear that social media management can start at, let's say, $800 a month, and you think that's impossible. But instead, view that at the annual cost, all right? View that at the annual cost of $9,600. How many weddings would you need to book in a year to justify that cost? So depending on your business, for some it could be one wedding, others it may be five, others maybe it's more like 9.6 weddings, but that's how you want to look at it. Look at it in the year-long time frame rather than just the month by month, because I know the month by month can sound scary, but if having that social media support gets you a dozen more bookings, then it is more than paying for itself, depending on the price points that you go for. So I'm confident that with proper strategy and time, that's going to happen. So that leads me to the next thing you need before hiring a social media manager is time. So I always tell clients that I need and that they should expect a 3-month period in order for the account to really hit its groove and its autopilot. So for me, autopilot means I'm understanding the account, what's working, what isn't. I'm able to make changes promptly and so forth. So for example, I had a client who hadn't posted in over a year. The first week of posting, not too much happened, but I cannot judge the content we posted in that first week based on that first week's response, because we're new to the algorithm, we're reestablishing ourselves to the audience, and those posts aren't getting their best chance. Now, in 3 months from when that account started posting, I am able to see a flip or a flop right away. I am able to see right away this post worked, this post didn't. And so you really need that time commitment. And the 3-month commitment allows you and your social media manager to begin to gather accurate information. If you don't have 3 months minimum to invest, then a social media content strategy isn't going to work for you, especially long term. If you're looking for something short term, then maybe you want to do digital or social media ads rather than social media content. The next thing you will need before hiring a social media manager, and this is a personal opinion, but it's a website. So you heard me mention earlier that my goal as the person doing your social media is to get clients to your website to enter your sales funnel. So I say that because 100% of my current clients, that's their sales funnel is through their website or people directly calling them, but it's not through DM. So they're not selling things through the messages or through maybe they're sending Venmo, PayPal, things like that. So I encourage having a website because typically in weddings, we're dealing with a higher price point. So there's a higher level of commitment and establishment that a couple may want to see before spending. So that's why I recommend not selling in the direct messages, because even a low cost item, let's say a favor, becomes a large order when multiplied by the amount of guests. So I think a website is a great investment towards your business, and it helps me as the social media manager direct people someplace and have a place where I'm sending them. If you don't have a website or you don't have a traditional wedding business like I've been discussing and you've been selling in the DMs, maybe having some sort of sales page, whether it be on Shopify or Etsy or something like that. We need a place to direct people. That's what I'm looking for as your social media manager. So if you're looking for web design, one of the people I recommend right now is Brian Lawrence Weddings. And so you can check him out at brianlawrence.com or Brian Lawrence Weddings on Instagram. But this also leads me to the next part, which is branding. Branding will allow what I'm posting on your social media to be cohesive with the rest of your online and physical identity for the brand. I say physical if you're a shop, if you're a venue, etc. If a client has good branding, I'm able to step right in and post from their voice and their vision, and it's pretty seamless. Having branding already in place will just make that initial social media management more impactful. So I've had several branding experts on past episodes of the podcast, so you could always just scroll through too to hear any of them. But one I'll mention right now is Ariel at I Do Design Studio. So you can check her at idodesign.studio. That's her website URL as well as her Instagram. The next thing you will need for your social media manager before you hire one is a portfolio of imagery. You should have a base collection of photos or videos to provide your social media manager with. If you don't have this, expect to invest in a photographer to come and take photos of yourself, your work, or your location. So as a social media manager, I do obtain, create, and even take images, but this does delay starting your content. So if you have content to give me, I'm able to just start posting as soon as that time frame that I will establish a schedule is. But if I have to come in, take photos, find photos, then that's going to delay things even more. But it's really important that you have a portfolio for even all the other marketing aspects of your business, which leads me to the next item, which is your additional marketing. So your social media manager does just that, your social media. This doesn't include things like email marketing, blogs, showcases, and so forth. I do offer, for example, with me, I'll offer email marketing and blogs, but that's at an additional price point and as an additional service. It's not included in my base social media marketing package. Additionally, I don't get involved with networking events, attending showcases, or your other marketing endeavors you may have. So social media, what's great is it's going to be able to support these items, but they do not necessarily fall within the umbrella of social media. So for example, if a venue I represent is going to be networking at a showcase, it's not my job to get the showcase material or to sign them up for the showcase or anything like that. But what I can do is if they provide me that information, I can post about the showcase and spread the word to their clients and followers on social media. Now, the last item is the most important item you are going to need, and that is trust. Trust the process. Social media is just one spoke in the wheel it takes to run a successful business. You cannot rely only on social media, but you also can't really be doing this effectively without it, at least in my opinion. Be willing to surrender knowing what's best or thinking you know what's best, especially for those first 3 months. And if you're doubting them, I have one client who is very nervous when they started to have someone else speak on behalf of their business, more so than any other client I've had. And first off, that is fine. That is fine. And your social media manager should welcome open conversations about the content and the strategy, which is what I do with this client. And they will let me know what's on their mind. I'll reply back with my expert opinion, and then we'll work through it together. And almost every time it ends with them being open to trying something. And sometimes you just need to help someone kind of see the results, but the really important thing is to have an open mind in the end and to have trust. Okay, this information helps me because it helps me know what's giving my client concern or worry, but in the end their open-mindedness is really what's helping everything move along. So an open, trusting mind will make social media significantly easier. The clients who are more controlling, I've had the least success with, and the clients who trust me to do the work, I have received the best results with. So let me just recap on what there were 7 different items that I mentioned. So the first one is budget. And I recommend going back to episode 73, where I speak about how to look through what paid off in your advertising budget from last year, what didn't, and maybe that's where you can pull some of those ad dollars to use towards social media marketing. Then we discuss time. And what I mean is if you know you're slower with inquiries in the summer, so you want to have social media up for the summer, don't start this process in June, Start it 3 months before. So then when you get the most impact is going to be for when you need it most. Next, I brought up a website and then branding. After that, number 5 was a portfolio of imagery. Now, if you don't have any imagery, I recommend checking out Carissa Cruzy Weddings, who has the Weddingpreneurs Content Club and the Your Real Wedding Photos Stock Club. So that at Your Real Wedding Photos, you get 100 real wedding photos to your inbox monthly that you can use for your social media or website. I am an affiliate with Krista Cruzy Weddings, who allows her products to be the sponsor of this podcast. So if you go to idoweddingmarketing.com/sponsors, you will be able to see the link to Carissa's products that you can use for your video and photo content. Number 6 was your additional marketing, things like your blogs and so forth. Carissa also does offer in the Weddingpreneurs Content Club templates for blogs, so that you can check out on the sponsors page as well. And then lastly was trust. And I don't have an affiliate I can send you for trust. You just have to find it within. It's there, and it will really pay off for your social media management, especially if you taking the time and budget to find an expert. Then I say, you have to just go based on their expertise, trust their referrals, trust their experience, and see what can happen. So guys, the next time I will be on this podcast will be in the new year. So I hope you guys will subscribe so I can talk to you then. In the meantime, if you feel you need more from me, I am selling on my website Instagram audits as well as strategy calls, so we can get your social media in its best position possible for the new year. Thank you for being here, guys, and I will see you on the next episode of the I Do Wedding Marketing Podcast.